Good morning, everybody. It's my great pleasure to welcome you all this morning, and it is an amazing and wonderful morning here in Toronto. Mostly because it's Gallie Day, of course. It's very exciting, and also because of our wonderful visiting professor, Leanne Feldman, who's here from McGill. So we're very happy to welcome her, and we'll hear a lot more about Leanne later this morning. Before we begin into the formal program, I just want to say a few words in recognition of the land upon which we are currently, could I get the next slide, please, currently working and gathering. Could you advance? Yeah, I don't think so. Maybe it needs to be. Oh. There we go. So I'd like to acknowledge the land upon which the University of Toronto operates and on which we have the privilege to gather here today. This land has for thousands of years been the traditional homeland of many Indigenous peoples across Turtle Island. We recognize the historical injustices that have been done to the Indigenous peoples of this land, and we seek to do better in our relationships with them and with the land in future. Now I want to take a moment to acknowledge and thank those who have spent so much time and effort making today possible. And amongst the committee members who have really shaped the day are Amin, Madani, Yosef, Ellenbogen, Asha, Behdinan, and of course Sylvia Perry and Renata Musa, and not least, but last, our Vice Chair of Research, Dr. Michael Fehlings, who's going to take over. Thank you, Michael.
Well, good morning, and it's a real pleasure to be here. And Carol, thank you for the beautiful land acknowledgement. The art that you select is always, I think, very, very meaningful. So I think many of you know about Gallie Day, but perhaps not everyone knows actually why it's called Gallie Day. So this is a photograph of Dr. William Gallie, who is really kind of an iconic surgeon in the truest sense of the word, and really established one of the first organized surgical residencies in North America. I'm sure it wasn't, the first, but one of the first, and certainly was instrumental in establishing this in Toronto, and really kind of modeled the training in many regards over what had been established by a fellow Canadian, Sir William Osler, and as well as by Halstead, who was really kind of an iconic teacher of surgery. From a spine surgical perspective, one of the things that I had to learn in residency was how to do a Gallie fusion, which is where you put wires under C1 and C2. Very nerve-wracking, I can assure you. You can just imagine having done that procedure in Gallie's time. Remarkable. So that's William Gallie. Okay, whoops. I think we've got, there we go. Okay, so the theme this year, and we try to pick a theme, I think, that would kind of resonate with a broad audience, and I think no surprise, this year, the impact of artificial intelligence and machine learning on the art and science of surgery. And, it's tremendous promise, and it's one of those situations which, reminds me a little bit of when stem cells came out. Tremendous hope and also a lot of hype as well. And so I think today we're going to see some fantastic science, and Professor Feldman is going to kind of put things into perspective for us, I think, as well, in terms of, where are things going. And in that note, Professor Leanne Feldman, our 2025 Gordon Murray Lecturer, will be formally introduced a little later today, but many thanks again for being here today, and very, very special. So I'm just going to give a very quick snapshot of kind of some of the events of the past year, kind of from a research and innovation and translation perspective. But the reality is the whole day is a celebration with a major focus on our trainees and a number of our kind of star faculty members. So, as the vice chair of research, I have the honor of putting this day together, but this is very much a collaborative effort. We have a lot of people who are involved. We have an amazing research a committee. I wanted to particularly acknowledge a few people. Andras Kapish, who's our associate vice chair and represents the full-time scientists. Renata Musa, who's an amazing program coordinator, and as well, Yosef and Asha are two resident members and who have really had a major role with the organization of today's event. So many thanks for that. And then we are featuring our trainees, among whom, apart from our amazing basics and translational science students, we of course have the surgeon scientist a training program which was first established by another leader, Bernard Langer, and this is a list of our current trainees. And just to kind of give you a sense of the numbers of trainees that we have, it's kind of hovered between 40 and 50 over the past a number of years. Really, I think kind of a very impressive accomplishment, and I think in many regards, quite unique. And this is just a list of the trainees, most of whom are doing PhDs and broad representation from the various divisions in our program. Despite all of the economic and fiscal turmoil that's going on, I think the department continues to do very well in terms of peer-reviewed grant capture and very high-impact publications. And this is, I think, reflected by the international stature that the University of Toronto Department of Surgery enjoys. So I just want to, again, and Carol graciously thanked a number of these people, but I also just want to give my great thanks to Amin Madani, who was super helpful in terms of kind of conceptualizing and organizing a lot of the activities, including making the introduction between myself and Professor Feldman, which was really great. So thank you, Amin. And I've recognized Yosef, Asha, and Renata. I would also like to thank and recognize our oral presentation chairs, and I'll be handing things over in just a moment. But thank you to Professors Baltzer and Nathans for chairing the morning and then the afternoon sessions. And I also want to acknowledge and thank a lot of the work that goes on, and this is behind the scenes, and but it's really important to the rigor and the integrity of what goes on today. And these are our reviewers who are listed on this slide. And then in addition, we'll have a very impressive array of e-posters which will be upstairs. So please make sure that you go around and look at these presentations, which I think really reflects the diversity of the science and the academics that are going on in our department. And we'd love to hear your feedback. So you can take a photograph of this QR code. I think it's probably in your programs as well and outside, and constantly kind of wanting your feedback in terms of, in particular, suggestions for, themes for, future presentations. So on that note, thank you very much. And at this time, I'd like to call on Dr. Heather Baltzer to kindly chair the first set of presentations this morning. Thank you.